One of the biggest intimidating factors for people starting a lawn care business, or maybe you're in the lawn business, is the fact that there's so much competition. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 things you can do outside of the quality of your work. Okay, that's a given. You got to have decent looking work, and the better your work is, you can stand out. But I'm going to give you 7 things you can do outside of just the quality of your work that you can do to stand out from the competition in this crowded industry. Let's get started right now. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at Graham Spray Equipment. If you want a spray rig for the back of your truck, you're in the weed control and fertilization business like me, then go to grahamsc.com or give those guys a call. These aren't in necessarily any particular order, but I think I am maybe going to start off with the strongest one. You can let me know if you agree in the comments. So the strongest one that I would think you need to do to stand out from your competition, this may catch some of you off guard, it shouldn't, but it is actually your web presence. So I just made an agreement with a company to take over my website and search engine optimization. More on that later. I want to make sure that they're doing a great job before I recommend them to anybody, but I got a strong feeling they're going to be great. But here's the thing about that. Where are people finding you? Are people seeing you out and they saw your truck or they saw your neighborhood working? Well, yeah, some of them are. But a ton of people that I get from my lawn care business, customers, are finding me online. So my online presence needs to be buttoned up. I need to have Google reviews. Okay, that's another thing that should be on here that goes with that. But having positive Google reviews, and a lot of them, is going to help you stand out from your competition. But if they click on your website and your website is ranking well on Google, then it's going to separate you, because there may be 100 people in your area mowing grass. But if you show up on the first page of Google, you have a strong possibility of getting leads, especially if you compare that with a bunch of positive reviews. And so if they got 2 companies to choose from that show up on the first page of Google on the Google Maps, there'll be more than 2, but I'm saying if there's 2 that they're considering it, one has 50 5-star reviews and the other has 3 5-star reviews, then which one do you think they're going to call? They're probably going to call the one with the 50 5-star reviews. So that's very important. And that's why the SEO, it stands for search engine optimization, as far as how do you get ranked on Google and other search engines. And sometimes it's worth paying a company to do that. So that's what I'm doing. They do the website development, search engine optimization, and I think that is a huge advantage over your competition if you're looking to get business and stand out from the crowd. The second thing you can do to stand out from the competition, this is something I could probably grow in, though I'm actually better at it than I used to be, is communication. And you say, oh, Jason, you can't hardly complete a sentence, whatever. I'm not really talking about that. I mean, yes, you want to sound as professional as possible when you're communicating, but I have some people that I've talked to in the business, and they are excellent at communicating with their customers. So maybe they use their software and it's a way where they could send a mass text to all the customers that they're going to be servicing the next day, and they just let them know, hey, tomorrow's your day for weed control, your day for mowing or whatever, you know, please put your dog up. But it's that steady communication. Or it's something like this. Hey, you know, it's rained Monday and Tuesday, so we normally cut your grass on Wednesday, but it's going to be Thursday or Friday or something. You know, just let them know I'm behind from the weather. We're going to get caught up as soon as possible. Or maybe it's at the end of the year, you send some communication that just thanks them for sticking with your business. Or maybe it's the beginning of the year and you let them know, hey, this is how things are going to go. Even if it's letting them know that, hey, the price is going to increase this year. But if you communicate it clearly with a good explanation, then most of the time the customers are going to be okay with it. If there's no communication and just shows up and it costs more than it did last year, that's probably not going to go over too well with a lot of them. Also, if it's been raining, I've found that customers are understanding if you simply let them know and communicate in some way. But if you don't show up for 4 days and no call, no text, no nothing, I know you can't have a long explanation with every customer, then it can become frustrating for the customer, and understandably so. I mean, you know, it's just, it is, they want to be talked to, they want to know what's going on. But I'll say this, if you prove yourself to be reliable year after year after year, then you get a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. So this may even be more important when you're starting out, until they build ultimate confidence in you that they know you're super reliable. The third thing I want to mention is your appearance. I mean, and what I mean by that, I'm not talking about combing your hair. I probably do a little work on my hair, but you know, I wear these shirts here. They got my logo on there. And these are dry fit long sleeve shirts I wear doing weed control and fertilization. And it doesn't have to be these, but just not going out there with a pair of blue jeans that's got holes in them and all that. Just looking like if you have employees with you, that everybody's wearing the same uniform, whether that is just a t-shirt with your logo on it, it's fine, I believe. If it's the same and has a nice professional look to it. Or even if everybody's isn't exactly the same, just the fact that everybody's dressed, it's okay to be dirty, okay? I think it might even be an advantage. It's okay to look like you've been working if you do lawn care. That's no problem at all. But you understand that if you show up and your truck's leaking oil in the driveway, but you come out with a ragtag impression, don't expect to necessarily be able to command top dollar from customers who honestly just expect a little bit more. It's no shocker, like today I was driving and I passed this huge roofing company in a different state, and it just looked very big, and I passed one of their trucks later on. Guess what? The truck, it's all, the logo's the same, they have a color scheme. These particular trucks were red, and everything just looked very neat and organized and clean and uniform. You know, it wasn't like they had 4 different trucks, they're 4 different colors, and I understand you do what you got to get started and to work with, but as you grow and as you're able, and I would prefer just, and it'd be best if you could just start this way, but just try to have a nice clean appearance that impresses the customer and doesn't scare them away and cause distrust. The 4th thing you can do to differentiate as competition is just offer different services. The more specialized your skill set gets, then the less competition you have often. So, you know, people are out there doing landscaping jobs. There's not as many doing that. Like for me, I was mowing grass and I started doing weed control and fertilization. Guess what? I eliminated a whole lot of my competition. Now I still have competition. I have big competitors that have big budgets, and it's still not super easy just go out there and get any customer I want. But there's not as many competitors as there used to be, and I'm able to reach out to the people that are mowing grass and they send me the weed control business. So it's been a great move for me, and I found it actually easier to get customers doing weed control and fertilization than mowing. But not tons easier, but again, I think it's just a result of not as much competition. It took gaining the skills and the knowledge to know how to go out there and to do the weed control and fertilization and the license and all the things that you got to do and hoops to jump through. But once you get that behind you, now you've got something to offer customers that other people can't duplicate. On that topic, I am hosting a live training day November 29th near Trussville, Alabama, where I live, and we are going to be teaching people hands-on how to get started in weed control and fertilization. I mean, it's not going to be sitting there listening to me talk. So we're out there spraying, riding equipment, learn how to mix chemicals. So if you want to get into weed control and fertilization, then you might want to mark your calendars for November 29th. That's a Tuesday. I'll put the link to that registration in the description below. Or if you've already bought the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, which I sell on lawncarelife.com, then you can come to the training day for free. Or you can just buy the ticket just to training day, or you can go buy the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy now, and the training day will be included in with that. That's for somebody, in my opinion, that says, I'm getting into weed control soon and I want to know how to do it. I want to see somebody do it, and they're ready to go and ready to stop playing around. 5th thing you can do to set yourself apart from the competition, and this is for existing customers, but the actual customer payment experience. So this might have a lot to do with the software you use. I use Yardbook, but I was talking to a friend the other day in the lawn business. I was asking him, he had switched from one software to another, and I said, how do you like this software versus the other software? He said, well, he basically said there was some negatives of both of them, and he wasn't using Yardbook, he was using 2 different software. He said one was great for the business owner. I mean, it is awesome, had all these features, but it was terrible on the customer side. It was a terrible experience for them. It was just not very user-friendly. He said this other one doesn't have quite all the features I want on the business side, on my side, but he said on the customer side, it's great, super easy, everything's great. So I found that for me, using Yardbook, like I have a lot of people pay for the year up front, but it's easy. I just send people an invoice with email, text, whatever. I can do mass communication through text, things like that, or just text them individually. I've got to do it on the app, on my phone, or on the computer. And by doing that, it's very easy for them just to click a link and pay with their credit card, or they can store their credit card on file. People like that. They don't want to jump through a bunch of hoops to make payments. I mean, so many things are auto-drafted and automated nowadays that they want it as easy as possible. So I think you got to put yourself in the customer's shoes, and if you're making it difficult and tedious to pay, then they're probably not going to like that in today's society. Sixth thing I want to mention is just the connections you might have. So perhaps you don't know how to fix a sprinkler system, but you might get asked regularly, who do you recommend for irrigation? And to have connections to where you're sort of a resource. You're sort of like, hey, you know what, I don't do that, but I got a person here, this company, let me give you their phone number, call them. And because you got asked to do all kinds of stuff. Hey, do you know somebody who can put some sod in my backyard? I'm wanting to redo it. I don't personally do that, but I tell you what, so-and-so does a great job. Let me give you their number. Same thing for weed control. And so think about this from two ways. One, for you want to have people. And for me doing weed control, they say, who do you recommend to cut my grass? I get that call all the time. I've got so many friends that cut grass, so I send them to this person, that person, this person. But think about from the other end, I've already sort of mentioned this, I want to be that person that they recommend when it comes to weed control. So when they get asked, who do you recommend for weed control and fertilization? Oh man, you got to call Jason with Alabama Lawn Pros. He's going to take care of you. I have the relationship with that mowing crew, and they should want me to take care of the yard because they want that yard looking great and they have confidence in me. So I've got to establish that relationship, and I do have many people that send me customers like that. And it's one of the easiest ways to get customers, because when they're recommended from their mowing guy, then it makes it an easy sell on my part because the person they trust has recommended me. Seventh and final one, I don't know if you're going to like this, not like it, whatever, but I'm just going to say it anyway. And I've had to kind of think about this, but you got to be willing to talk to the customers, because I understand you think about that old lady that comes out there and talks and talks and talks and talks and talks, and you're looking at your wife and it's just taking forever. I'm not necessarily talking about that, though I think there's sometimes we need to talk to her as well. But I'm talking about being there, being available, being able to listen. Don't feel like you're always in a hurry. I don't have time to talk to anybody. And I tell you what, I've tried to look at this, especially if it's on the front end where I'm trying to get a customer and I show up and they're going to ask me about this and this and this and this and that and that and the shrubs and everything else. And sometimes I look at that as a chance to let the customer see that I'm qualified. It's a chance to not boast in your abilities, but for you, by sitting there talking through them, giving them professional advice, I think, and that's why I look at it, you're building their confidence by, wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. I mean, I want to hire him to work on my yard. And so you got to have time to do that, you know, and don't feel like you're rushed and like, hey, you know, look at the customers. Are you going to hire me or not? I mean, I got to go. I got 4 more quotes to give after you. But just take the time. Now, again, they start showing you pictures of their grandkids on their phone and all that. You might have to cut it off. But don't look at it always as an inconvenience, whether it's an existing customer that just wants to talk to you. You might be building that connection that makes them stick with you for the next 15 years. Or if it's a new customer, it's a chance to sell yourself as the professional who actually cares about them and wants their business. Add a list, what I leave off, how do you set yourself apart? What would you tell yourself when you started in this business years ago if you've been in it a while? How do you set yourself apart in such a competitive industry? Other thing you could do is you can charge a low price. Okay, that's what not to do. Charge a really low price. Okay, you'll set yourself apart, all right, and then you'll set yourself into bankruptcy when it doesn't work. Or you can actually go the other extreme, set a really high price, but you better have the services to back it up. I prefer to kind of stay in the mid-range there and try to run as efficient a business as possible to keep my profits up. Super tight route and all that, you know, I talk about in other videos, route density and all those things. Reminder, the links are in the description. If you want to come to the training today, November 29th, Weed Control Workshop is what we're calling it. I'm really excited about that. To me, this is designed for a little bit smaller crowd. I'm thinking like 20 to 30 people. Hands-on, I'm ready to go for weed control and fertilization. We mostly deal with warm season grasses, but if you deal with cool season grasses, we can probably help you with that too. I'm not doing it myself. My friend James Bartley, who's helped me with other shows that we've done in the past, he's helping me again, so I'm really excited about that. But you'll be able to get your hands on the equipment and see what it's like to be out there. Get your questions answered, but be able to see it sometimes. You know, reading on paper and all that is one thing, but to be able to see it. Again, there's the courses, documents. I just came up with a pricing chart I'm really excited about. I'm selling for $39 on lawncarelife.com. It's called Dynamic Pricing Charts, where you can, it gives you a very good guide of what I'm charging for weed control and fertilization. You can also use it for mowing, but it's also dynamic in the sense that if you want to raise your minimum price, then you can do it in the Excel worksheet style form it is, and it will automatically repopulate the whole pricing chart for you. So say next year you want to go up $2, put it in, boom, repopulates the whole chart for you. So it's a real time saver as well. Thanks for watching. I'm Jason Creel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I appreciate you guys. Some of you have been supporting me on here for a long time. I've been on YouTube for over 11 years, and I appreciate the support. See you guys in the next video.